Alright, so this video is last second to say the least. And I say that it's last second not because the laptop's on its last legs. Quite the contrary. In fact, I've had this in my possession for coming up on a year now. I picked it up used at a local computer recycler. And it just written in wax pen, somebody wrote on it, or sorry, grease pen. Written in grease pen, somebody just said $15, no RAM, no hard drive, and I'm just like, that doesn't mean it's broken. So I bought it, thinking I'll have myself something to play around with and keep me and my ADD occupied for the next couple of days. And, well, it did do that. Got the grease pen off too, which was nice. It's not always a guarantee. Anyway, so this is an IBM ThinkPad X21. There is no hard drive in this model. These are very dependable little machines too. They last forever. Pardon my sweaty hands. So we've got our cooling vent for the 700 MHz Pentium 3. A USB port, 1.1 only. Missing a hard drive bay cover. However, there was still the screw hole, and it lined up perfectly with the hard drive screw instead of just a special area where maybe the caddy screw would be. So I screwed it in anyway. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, and I had to use a Dell screw because they have fatter heads. This didn't have a battery in it either. I found the battery in the bin of junk batteries at the same recycler. It's a little bit, I think this is actually the extended battery, but it fit in this model and it charged, so I considered it a win. A small monophonic speaker sitting back behind that grill. I'll show you under the battery really quickly. Just open this up. There we go. Not much in there. Look like a date code. 2001, 7th month, I'd imagine. And I believe Y1 means it's the first product release, but I'm not sure. As you can see, it clearly says old battery on it. However, the battery does work. No dangerous explosions yet. Of course, now I'm going to die in my sleep from it. Now that I said that. Anyway, it's a lithium ion. These weren't nickel metal hydride or nickel metal cadmium anymore. Okay. Oops. Gotta get it in right. There we go. Okay. Continuing onward, I guess. It's got these, which are kind of interesting. These are almost like heat fins. I'm not really sure what their purpose is. I'm considering them heat fins for cooling because they're a stronger plastic and they seem to get very warm when you're using the laptop. Under here, there was a sticker that had the product key on it. It isn't there anymore. It wasn't when I got it either. I put 128 under there and 128 under the keyboard. Makes it for a nice 256 megs of RAM. In there you can kind of just see the top of a piece of aluminum that covers the CPU. Got your standard IBM dock connector. I do have the dock and charger for this, but it's fully charged right now, so I will turn it on without that. Interestingly enough, it has hooked into a hard drive controller, mind you. This struck me as really cool. It has this CF card reader. You can see that is CF. That's PCM-CIA. Two different technologies. But the CF card reader is hooked into a hard drive controller, so you could potentially boot off of it, provided you had a large enough card and an image. Got your standard headphone and microphone jacks, and then IR sensors in the front, and then a video out jack, Ethernet modem, which I removed the modem on it just so it wasn't sucking battery, another USB port and a VGA port, along with standard power and a Kensington lock port hole thing. Tricolor IBM logo, my favorite of the IBM logos. I like the normal blue too, I guess. Okay, on the front it has that standard IBM flap, and most people know that it's just some contacts under it, and I don't really know what they're for. I think there were attachments, but I don't know the extent of the attachments or what they did. All I know is I don't have any of them, so yeah, there's that. Okay, I'm gonna open it on up. See if I can do this one-handed. There we go. Very little wear on this. If anything, it's mostly sweat, because I have very sweaty hands. Another tricolor ThinkPad logo. Standard track point with your left, right, and middle for scrolling. Always blue. And always ridged just slightly too high and makes a mark on the screen. Hate that. It's actually, if you can see, it has a curvature around the edge for you to rest your palm on, which is kind of nice right here. This is all ridged. Also ridges for the arrow keys. Keys have little to no wear on them. There's really only a couple of shiny spots, and it's on the space bar and the well-traveled keys like the N and the M and such. And even then, it's not enough to have worn off any letters. You got your standard volume up, volume down, mute, the X21 logo with hard drive activity light, a sleep switch up above that for the screen to activate, a num lock, caps lock, scroll lock, and power LED, and a power button. It's the 14-inch screen, I believe, with a 1024 by 768 resolution, which is pretty good for that time. These notebooks ran at this point in time, they ran a multitude of OSs. You could kind of get them with anything. I think you could get them with anywhere from 98 through 2000, maybe even XP, but I'm pretty sure these only touch 2000. Yeah. You've got your microphone up here too. I think I neglected to mention that the first time I glanced over it. Yeah. And the ThinkPad button, which takes you to either the help document or the website. I forget which. This also has the Think Light, which right now just looks like a crack in the top, but it's cooler than that, I guess. It shines down on the keyboard when you activate the function key and page up. Okay, so I'm going to fire it off. Oh, here are the other two LEDs. The battery LED and the sleep LED. Okay, so I'm going to power it up. And how about we take a look through the BIOS first. Okay. Now I think it's escape to get into the BIOS. Okay, F1. I pressed F1, we'll see if I got it. I did not. It's booting. I'm terrible at this. Oh, shutdown beep. Classic on a Lenovo laptop. Sorry, Lenovo, IBM. I'm sorry, they're two very similar things in my mind, as I have a couple of Lenovos that look pretty much like this, since they never really deviated from their tested, tried and true design. There we go, it's entering the BIOS setup utility. Funny thing about this screen had a band of blue and green and red pixels, just vertical lines, and there were like 4 or 5 of them. And I fixed it by pulling the entire screen assembly apart, and behind the screen where the little board folds over, I put some cardboard in between it and basically breasted the board away from the back of the TFT panel, and that tightened up the connection just enough to make it super sturdy. Like you can't shake this loose now. Anyway, this is BIOS version 225, and it's dated 2003, 4/17/2003. So it actually went far past its maker's date for this BIOS version. I mean, this was made in 01. 2 years of support for the laptop. Pretty good, actually. Embedded controller, I'm not sure which controller that is. It could just be the BIOS chip, it could be hard drive, it could just be a Northbridge, I'm not sure. System unit, system board, Pentium 3 with the SpeedStep technology, and they had the programs to activate it even in Windows 98, so you weren't constantly full throttling this beast with Windows 98's pathetic excuse for APM power support. 700 megahertz, 256 megs of RAM, long UUID, MAC address for the internal LAN, which is not applicable because I put a Wi-Fi card in it and it doesn't know how to read that, unfortunately. Okay, so sorry about that. My camera had started to tweak out on me. It's not the greatest thing in the world. Anyway, I'm not gonna go through all the configuration pages and stuff. I mean, it's very simple. I'm just gonna boot it, and it boots very quickly, so don't blink. Here we go. Here, the hard drive fire on. I put a brand new 40 gigabyte. Oops. I put a brand new 40 gigabyte Fujitsu hard drive in here. Literally brand new out of the package. Never been used. No bad sectors. It's beautiful. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Anyway. Boots 98. I'm most familiar with 98 as far as older systems go. I didn't use 2000 all that much. Although I did use it for a period of 4 years, so I guess maybe that is a lot. Who here loves that sound? I know I do. Okay, like I said, this is going to be kind of hurried. It's like 1 or something in the morning and I'm tired. I just wanted to make the video before I sell this tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, I guess I'll just show down here. We got the Lenovo utilities installed. Oh, there we go. Focus. Battery is pretty good actually. It's still at 92. It has the track point and configuration utilities, the speed step optimization utility. Right now, you could also just right click on it and crank it to full. Yeah, it's something. My custom made game launcher for the Humongous Entertainment games. I'm still working on it, but it's got pictures that this is going to be the point of an entirely separate video. Either way, it's an HTA application that's I use pictures to represent the game, so you just click on them and it launches the game in Scum VM. And those ones are still buttons because I haven't made pictures for them yet. I'll show you really quickly with PJS too. It's going to open Windows Internet Explorer too. Doesn't do that on the newer versions of Windows. I'm not really sure why it does it here. Okay, anyway. That's not the point of this video. That's just to show that I made a cool game launcher that I'm still working on perfecting and getting to work with Scum nicely. Anyway, so yeah, I've got my game launcher down there. The hard drive I have partitioned. Because this doesn't have a CD drive, I have it partitioned so that there's an install partition. So if you wanted to reinstall Windows 98, it has all of that, and it also has the Office installation. And I'm giving the person that I'm selling this to my license keys for those because I have no use for them. Not really, at least. And then I've got just the Windows 98 drive, which I gave I gave it a capacity of 32 gigs fully, so FAT32 could take full advantage, and then I gave the other 10 gigs to the install partition, which I put the Windows 98 and everything install on. It shows it as a floppy drive, even though with this it didn't have a built-in floppy, and I didn't have the dock with the CD or the floppy. I only had the little plug-in dock that's special, and the DVI on that doesn't work because this doesn't have DVI capability. Either way, that's not the point. You have to use a USB floppy drive, and it just so happens that my little off-brand Mitsumi USB floppy drive worked perfectly and let me boot off of a floppy on this. This has surprisingly good clarity for the screen. It's not yellowed. The screen latch pushing thing down here clearly still works, and it's quite sensitive. I just set it into sleep mode. Now you can see the flashing sleep LED. Oh, I guess it doesn't flash on these. That's sort of an anticlimax. Oh well. Bring it back to life. Arise, Hassan. Of course, Windows 98 hated waking from sleep mode, so I'm probably just gonna get a C prompt for a second. It might just do nothing, too. I don't know. Oh, no, look at that, it's set up right. Weird, man. Weird. Okay, I'll show you the ThinkLight really quickly. Let me just turn it on. It's gonna be function. Come on, camera. Function. And this button. And now the ThinkLight is on. And in the dark, which I'll show you in a second, it illuminates very nicely. You cannot change the brightness of the light, only the brightness of the screen. But I will show you how bright that little light is really quickly. I'll just turn off the light in here. Oops, I guess I had both lights on. Darkness. Look at how much that little light illuminates to the keyboard. Okay, my camera's a really poor representation. That's actually really clear to me. I mean, human eyes can... Oh, that's probably why. The screen's in the picture too. It's very clear to the human eye for me to read. There's no issues there. It even looks like the light of God coming out of the top there. You can see the power LED is fully functioning. All is well on this laptop. Yep, and it's going off to its new owner tomorrow. Okay, I have light again. So yeah, here's just a picture far away. I'm sorry if it looks glossy and disgusting right now. Like I said, that's from sweat. My hands are sweaty. I'm sorry. I'm going to clean it very thoroughly with a Clorox wipe right now, and maybe I'll just take a picture before I pack up for the night and call it a night. Anyway, so this little X21 has been a nice, fun little project for me over the past year that it's just been sitting around my shop. And now it's going to go to its new owner. I wrote an incredibly lengthy and wordy Craigslist ad, and it just so happens that somebody responded to it. So, the X21 is off. The ultralight of the PIII 3 series. So it turns out the cover on these things is really shiny when wet. I just realized, look how sparkly and shiny this is right now, just because it's all wet from the Clorox wipe. I just thought that was kind of cool. I didn't know that these got so light. You can see over here it's starting to dry off and it's turning back to its matte finish, but it's just a strange contrast from the usually stark, businessy look of these laptops, which I actually appreciate. And now it's drying and starting to look lackluster again. But yeah, I'll open it up. I also clean the inside as soon as it's finished drying. Okay, so this is just a quick after look. There's a little bit of streaking because I didn't do the greatest after wipe down to make sure I had all the stuff off. But, I mean, you get the idea. It's a very clean little laptop for a thrift store, or not even thrift store, a salvage find at the computer scrap depot that we have. I'll probably do a video inside of there if they'll let me one time. It'd be kind of cool. I'm friends with one of the dudes there, but you never know. You might just say, I'm not really feeling like it. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to come in on Saturday. Alright, I'm gonna stop quoting Office Space and go to bed. You've seen the IBM what's-a-face X21 ThinkPad model. It's beautiful. It will, I'm sure, make it another. But I bet you if taken care of properly, this would make it another 10 years. It's fully loaded, racing spec, ready to go. And I think this is, I'm just going to let you see the label really quickly just because I feel it's my obligation to. This is one of the Made in Mexico model. This is 16 volt 3.5 amp type 2662 X21 model. Ready to be awesome once more for someone else. So yeah. This is both the first and the last time you'll ever see the X21, or at least this specific one, maybe I'll find another, on my channel. So yeah. Thanks for watching.